Welcome back. We're going to be talking finances and introduce you to a new partner over at Sterling Financial. We want to welcome Dan Ohlweiler and Mark Andra. Thank you for joining us.
Michael, good to be here.
Good to be here.
Good to be here as well.
And we have Mark here. Mark, tell us a little bit about Mark.
Well, Mark and I have known each other for a few years, and we've kind of gone the same paths along the way, and COVID kind of came in and adjusted Mark's little business model, so to speak. I guess that would be the case, and so we kind of hooked up, and Mark's part of Sterling now.
Okay, terrific. So, Mark, what is your area of expertise? What do you bring to the table here over at Sterling?
Yeah, well, I've been in the industry since 1990, and so focused primarily on income planning. Mm-hmm. And so my very first life, before I'm doing what I'm doing, I was involved in investment real estate and working with high-end property owners, income-producing assets, and so that was my very first exposure to the work environment. And so so I've been working with people and trying to create income streams that can never be outlived. Mm-hmm. And so that was something that was valuable to Dan and his team, and so I.
Right. That idea of passive income is, a great thing for some people who can afford to have the major investment in like a home or a number of homes, and then just have that passive income coming in every month, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we're primarily, working primarily with apartment owners, in San Francisco, and so these were people that owned anywhere between 4 to 100 unit buildings, and so they were. That was a very different type of business. Very actively involved. The property owners, and so that was a different kind of effort. But with what I do with Dan, just working with people that are looking to, take retirement assets and make sure that they can last forever. That's what we do.
That's what you do, Dan. You want to see
that's what we do.
Forever is an open kind of idea there. But let's talk a little bit about what we see maybe on the horizon. We're talking maybe a little bit about inflation and what some of the signs are as we're looking out.
Well, I sent you over some talking points in regards to the kind of the signs of possible recession. Some indicators. Each one individually doesn't necessarily cause a recession, but combined,
add those things up, right?
Combined, they can do that. Inflation is obviously always a ugly animal that rears its head. We hadn't had inflation prior to COVID.
Right.
From 2008 recession to 2020, our inflation was relatively low because we had low interest rates. But when the government started passing out money in the COVID recession, or so to speak, but they started passing out money and just started driving up inflation, and we saw that.
Suddenly people had money in the bank accounts they were willing to spend, and as supply and demand, right? The more people with money, less items out there for everybody to buy up, and that drives the prices.
Absolutely. And so inflation is one indication. The inverted yield curve is another one that inverted yield curve means that short-term rates.
We have a chart on that. I want to make sure people see that.
Okay. So short-term rates are actually higher than long-term rates because companies or the Treasury doesn't want to invest long-term because they're afraid that interest rates might go down or might go up or whatever. They don't have an indication for long-term, but short-term they know what they can invest in. So. Short-term rates are a little bit higher than long-term rates are, and that's not usually the case. Our long-term rates usually are a little bit higher when you can invest for a longer period of time.
Well, no, the Fed's tipped their hat a little bit. They said they're going to maybe have about 3 cuts this year, and so
I'll wait to see that happen.
Right?
Hopefully it does. It's nice for savers. Okay, for so long savers were getting hammered because we had 1% CDs, maybe if we were lucky. Now we can get 5% CDs. Well, that's great for the savers, but consumers that are having loans that they have to apply for and things like that, we're seeing higher rates for the consumer versus the savers.
Now, the economists will tell us the economy's great. Biden tells us the economy's great.
Wait,
but all these
wait,
things.
wait.
But when you ask the consumers,
Yeah.
their confidence in the economy isn't strong, and that's a big factor,
You can't ask
right?
a politician if things
I
are good.
know. I know.
You know, I mean, you go on the man on the street, and he's, you know, the thing about the consumer price index for the government is they keep out groceries and energy.
Right, the things we do, the gas and
The gas and the
everyday
food,
things, which makes no sense.
So they take that out of their consumer price index, and that it's not a real index, so to speak. You know, the spending index is what's really they ought to be using, but you know, the long-term bonds, the inverted, you know, consumer confidence is down. You know, I mean, if you look at the polls right now, the economy is one of the main things that people are talking about, and so that and the border crisis, but consumer confidence is not very strong right now.
Right.
So if you take, you know, inflation, inverted, you know, yield index on the short term versus long term, consumer confidence, and then the political turmoil throughout the world, all those things combined, you know, that's not a good indication going forward.
Right. So there are a lot of economists that said, hey, we actually may be hitting this soft landing, and the folks who are saying recession, there are fewer of those, but it's never off the table, right?
Well, I don't know that we've really had a soft landing. You know, we usually go into a recession, and then it comes. I mean, you look at 2008, 2009, when the bubble burst on the real estate market, Lehman Brothers collapsed, and there was a lot of turmoil, and that kind of brought things back into play because they were basically giving homes away to anybody that breathed. You didn't have to qualify for a loan.
No confirmed income.
You didn't have to have income or anything like that, and so, you know, they were giving homes away, and you know, and this stock market today is just nuts. You know, I mean, I don't know what's driving this market other than emotion. Okay, because it's certainly not economics, and certainly not, you know, the economy that's driving that. It's emotion, and you know, I don't know what's going to happen. If I did, I wouldn't be here because I could be in the Bahamas with a, you know,
you bring your crystal ball.
Exactly, my crystal ball. But you know, I'm totally flabbergasted that the market had the kind of year that it did last year, but. What do I know?
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, Mark, do you have an umbrella for this rainy day that you feel like that might be coming up that Dan's telling us about? When you sit down with your folks and the folks that you're advising, and when you get together with the team, where are you telling people to put their money as opposed to the boom days that sometimes are happening?
Yeah, most of the people that we're sitting down with are, you know, typically between the ages of 60 and 75, and so their accumulation years are kind of behind them.
Right.
And their focus when we visit with us is basically about preservation of capital, and so their appetite for risk is not as great as it used to be. And so we, you know, talk a lot about, you know, where we introduce guarantees. People like that, and so they want to be assured that what they have can last their lifetime. There's unknowns like healthcare is one of those expenses that are looming in the future. We don't know how long they're going to live, and so we're trying to take what they have and try to protect it and have it grow in a conservative level, and again, and generate as many revenue streams as possible that can never be outlived. And so that is what the people that we work with, they're looking for. They're looking for that peace of mind of knowing that their money will last forever.
And it is an interesting factor over the past maybe couple decades that people are just living longer, so they need that money to go and stretch just even more down the road after that wealth accumulation in their earning years.
Well, it's interesting.
Right?
I did a little bit of research when Social Security started back in the late 30s, early 40s. I think the first recipient of Social Security was 1940, and our life expectancy back then was 66 years old. Okay.
Yeah. Now that's when people start taking it.
It's not, yeah, that's right. It's now 79. Okay, so that's a combination of men and women. But you know, we qualified for Social Security at 65. Our life expectancy was 66. There's a reason we have an issue with Social Security now.
Yeah, most definitely. Dan and Mark, Sterling Financial, thanks for joining us. Always great time.
Good to be here.
Been a
And
pleasure.
welcome to the game. Welcome to the team.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thank you.
We're going to be right back with folks from the California Club. Stay with us.